Welcome to Designing Systems. Let's dive into the nitty-gritty of acing system design interviews. Imagine you're stepping into that dream company's interview room, ready to showcase your problem-solving process rather than just a perfect design.
Absolutely. It's all about the method, right? How do we
Yep.
kick off this process?
Well, it starts with truly understanding the problem and setting the correct scope. Think about asking smart questions, like if you're designing a newsfeed system, clarifying whether it's for mobile, web, or both. It's like you need to know
Right.
what field you're playing on.
Mm-hmm. And it's not just about the function, but also the scale. Asking if you're expecting 10 million daily active users, for example, really sets the framework for your design.
Exactly. It's like you're building the blueprint for a skyscraper. You gotta know if it's gonna be a
Yeah,
cottage or a
got it.
high rise.
Now, once you've nailed down the problem, what's next in our conversation?
Next up is proposing a high level design. And this is where you outline the components around clients, APIs, servers, databases, and caches. The trick here is to
Mm-hmm.
get early buy in from your interviewer. You want to bounce ideas like teammates.
Right? It's more of a collaborative effort than a one-person show. But don't you sometimes think that asking for feedback might make candidates seem, you know, less confident in their design choices?
That's an interesting point, but honestly, it's not about a lack of
Exactly
confidence.
right.
It's more about demonstrating you're open to discussion and can integrate feedback, which is crucial in real world environments.
True. And then the next step is diving deep into the design, right?
Yes, exactly. Once your high level structure is set, you then get into the details. You focus on key components. It's kind of like um, zooming in on the engine of a car after you've drawn the entire blueprint.
Yep. And in that engine, you discuss trade-offs, like choosing between, say, an SQL database versus a NoSQL solution for different needs.
Exactly. And you detail why you here might choose one over the other without getting too bogged down by minutiae. It's a balancing act. Demonstrate your expertise while keeping it digestible.
Makes sense. Then comes wrapping up the design with a neat summary and suggesting improvements for the future, correct?
Right. You recap your system, highlight those major decisions, and even identify some bottlenecks where future enhancements can be applied. It's like finishing a painting with a thoughtful signature and a note on possible changes.
Absolutely.
And here's a quick tip, always document your assumptions along the way. Like saying, assuming posts are mostly text with media attachments, keeps your roadmap clear, which is something interviewers really dig.
That keeps the design process transparent and aligned with expectations, right?
Exactly. And oh, speaking of expectations, let's talk about what interviewers are really evaluating.
They're looking closely at collaboration, problem solving, and communication.
Absolutely. The interviewer essentially wants to see that you can work as a team. They're like a teammate rather than a strict evaluator.
Yeah, right. It really sounds like the stress is on the process rather than perfection. But uh, what about the do's and don'ts?
Oh, that's a key segment. Always ask clarifying questions. Document those assumptions early on. And don't rush into less understood solutions. Avoid over engineering or being too
hmm
rigid. Communication is critical. Keep the dialogue going. Don't go silent. It's like having a conversation where, mutual feedback flows continuously.
Absolutely. You know, this really reminds me of my own interview experience. I used to worry that asking too many questions might seem insecure, but it clearly pays off when you articulate your thought process.
Yes, exactly. It's not just the answer, but how you uh, arrive at the answer. That reflective thought process is what
True
sets
that.
great candidates apart.
And timing is an important factor as well, right? Like managing your time across the different steps of the interview.
Right. Um, Time management is crucial. Think of a typical 45-minute session. Spend roughly 3 to 10 minutes on understanding the problem, 10 to 15 minutes on the high level design, 10 to 25 minutes diving deep into details, and then 3 to 5 minutes wrapping it all up.
Yep, timing really defines clarity.
And you got to be flexible. Adjust those timings based on the complexity and the cues you get from your interviewer.
Absolutely. So, it's about having this comprehensive framework while being adaptable in real time. It almost sounds like a dance, structured yet fluid.
Exactly. It's like choreographing a performance where you have the moves planned out but improvise along the way.
Love that analogy.
Now, as we wrap up our conversation here, let's re emphasize that system design interviews are about showcasing your process. Start by clarifying the problem, create a high level design, dive deep with your chosen components, and finish with thoughtful
Right, spot on.
enhancements.
It's a pretty robust framework that, if practiced, can really boost a candidate's confidence. But do you think that following a fixed framework might sometimes limit creative solutions?
That's an interesting critique. I'd say a framework serves as a guideline. It shouldn't like straitjacket creativity. It's more of, a reliable map rather than a strict itinerary.
Yeah, I get that.
Right. You can always take detours to explore new ideas as long as they connect back to the framework. Interviewers appreciate innovation as long as it's grounded in a solid process.
hmm And that emphasizes the importance of adaptability along with structure.
Exactly. And remember, the purpose is to show you can communicate clearly, think strategically, and work collaboratively under pressure.
Yep, indeed. So, to all the listeners gearing up for these interviews, focus on that process. Ask questions, communicate your rationales, and be flexible with your design approach.
Absolutely. Keep that dialogue active, make sure you document assumptions, and wrap up with insights on potential future enhancements. All these elements together make for a winning
Perfectly
strategy.
said. This framework really gives a clear roadmap for tackling real world scenarios under pressure. It's both structured and adaptable, which seems to be the secret sauce for success.
Exactly. And with practice, anyone can master this system design interview framework. Remember, it's all about the process and the way you communicate it. Happy designing, everyone.